Welcome back, Brown, to another installment of the YA Think Tank. So happy that you guys are tuning in with us, and I'm so happy to see some familiar faces, but I'm also happy to see these black queens on stage with us today. They in the Think Tank, and we about to have a great conversation today. Actually, if you don't know anything about the Think Tank, the goal for us is to have those uncomfortable conversations and comfortable spaces. And we believe that the church should be leading those conversations, especially us young adults. We should be the ones having them conversations. We might not agree on everything, but finding a way to come up with solutions and finding a way to be able to push prolific thought about the certain topics that we're having. So what we're going to do, we're going to introduce the cast, and then after that, we'll jump into it.
Hey, my name is Cedric Hunt. I'm native here in Memphis, Tennessee. My home church is Greenwood AME, and I'm so elated to be here with these great men and these great women to share some great thoughts today.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrea Patterson from Memphis, Tennessee. My home church is New Generation Church under the leadership of Pastor Floyd, and I'm just excited to be here today.
Hi everybody, my name is Nadia Gibbons. I'm a Memphis native, and my home church is Spiritual Growth Ministries in Whitehaven, 38116 stand up. And I'm excited to be here with everybody today.
My name is Kevin Smith. I am a Memphis native, a Haven native to be exact. I attend Brown Missionary Baptist Church with the leadership of Pastor Bartholomew Orr, and I'm just excited that Floyd invited me to come back.
I am Leroy Davenport, originally from Greenville, Mississippi. I now reside in Starkville, Mississippi, where I pastor the 16th Session Missionary Baptist Church. Glad to be back with you all.
And my name is Alexia Lamock. I am a native now of South Haven, Mississippi. I also attend Brown Missionary Baptist Church under the leadership of Pastor Bartholomew Orr, and I am also excited to have been invited to participate today.
And it's me again, Floyd Trey Lee.
Yes, sir.
I am a native of Greenville, Mississippi, residing here in South Haven, not too far from this church. Don't come looking for my address. But I am thankful to be here, young adult minister here at Brown, up under the leadership of the great Pastor Bartholomew Orr. Also, I want to put this out there real quick for those of you that are watching. Kevin, he's my little brother. We did not coordinate this. Yes, we had the same shoes on, but we did not coordinate it, okay? Okay, we got that out there.
Think alike.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna jump into this topic real quick. This topic is crazy because over the pandemic in 2020, it seemed like everybody became relationship gurus. Pastor Mike Todd, shout out to him at Transformation Church. He came out with relationship goals, and everybody started throwing out these relationship goals and started talking about how they're transforming lives and telling people how to date or how to walk in their singleness. Well, let's be honest, if that's the truth that people are walking full in their season, why aren't we committing to those seasons? Why aren't we committing to relationships that we're calling ourselves eventually going to be in a position to marry that person? So the question, I'm about to throw it out there, y'all ready? The question is commitment taboo in the millennial, whether the Christian millennial community? Is it taboo? The word commitment.
Expound on taboo.
Yeah.
When I say taboo, meaning, is it just a poof? Is it legendary? Do our generation really commit to relationships? Are we committing to relationships? Because I see more people being single, and nothing wrong with being single. The thing is, I just don't see, most of the time when you talk to people that are single, they say, I can't find somebody that can commit to an actual relationship. So that's what I mean. Is it taboo in the sense that people can't commit or they don't want to commit?
That's a good question. I work on a college university campus, and so these questions come up a lot. Also about me being a young pastor, come up a lot, and I'm a single pastor. As we define taboo, we also have to find what is single. Because for some, single mean not talking to anybody. It may be I may be testing a few just to get to know them, or with this person but ain't going so well, so let me put my eggs in another basket and see can I get some over here. So what is their definition of single? That's I think we have to start there first.
I think it's not so much that we don't know how to commit. I think it's the definition of commitment. A lot of things need to be defined. Yeah. In our generation, if we're talking about Christian millennials, not if we're talking about everybody that's Christian.
Well, we can talk about everybody,
right, cool.
but I guess we're speaking
I
on
think
Christians.
the definition of commitment is what changes the perspective. If I if I've seen a level of commitment that's unhealthy, or I've seen commitment that was tumultuous, or a commitment that ended too soon, or a commitment that didn't include the Lord, that changes my perception of what commitment is. So I can say, yeah, I'm committed to you, but if my commitment looks like what I saw my parents do and that ended terribly, then yeah, I'm committed. It's just trash.
That's good.
So define commitment, I think we can do that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to expound upon what you just said, because I know when you brought that topic up about commitment, I think a lot of it is what we've seen in the past generations, like our grandparents and stuff like that. They probably had marriages, like she said, that weren't as perfect as we want to view them. And a lot of times, one or the other may take a lot from the spouse, because of the fact that this is what they're supposed to do for their children. This is how you keep a family together. And I think that as we grow and as our generations continue to come into perspective of what marriage is, we don't want to commit because we've not seen that true image of real love. What I've seen my parents do, or not my parents, I'm just speaking in general, because my parents are still married. They've been married for almost 30 years now. But you've seen parents or relationships where the spouse steps out, but they stay together to make it work for the children. That doesn't make it good or positive or what we want to view as real love. So we see it like, okay, well, what's the need of getting married if my spouse is still going to step out on me or do whatever they want to do? And I think that's a lot of where the lack of commitment stems from.
I believe the lack of, and I agree with you. I believe the lack of commitment, it kind of truly stems from not being committed to self. Right. It's kind of hard to be committed to anything when you yourself haven't, stuck to it with anything. And so it's kind of hard to, as a millennial, you're still trying to figure out life. You're in your mid-20s, you're just leaving your parents' house, now you're on your own. You got freedom, but you also want to be connected. So you're in this in this paradox. I want this, but I kind of need to be alone. So you end up kind of getting in situations to where you ever flirted yourself into a relationship, and so then it hits you. You like, man, I done messed up. Now I don't want to be in this. It's because you're just making impulsive decisions in these millennial ages. So commitment will come when you first commit to yourself.
And I have to say, like, being 21 and, starting to get out there in college and, about to get into the real world, I see, like, our generation as, do we really want to commit, or are we being selfish in a way of, like, what's convenient to us? We rather have convenience than to, stand the test of time of commitment and being committed to someone or something in your life. So, just my generation in general, I feel like we're just mostly stuck on our convenience of things in our life. Like, I'd rather be, like, I might be in a relationship, but something bad happened. If it's not convenient to me, I'm just go, something like that. Like, it's just our generation. I don't know what it is,
Popcorn generation.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm just confused as to, like, why our generation is just, like, so stuck on just the convenience. Maybe it is because what we see when we grow up, or, we don't really see the definition or know the definition of love or what it is,
That's good. Since self came up and convenience came up, it kind of can help us to understand that we were taught to have convenience. We were taught that if we go to Chick-fil-A, we know no matter how Chick-fil-A gonna come out there, run to your car, take your order. You don't even have to pay to get to the window and say my pledge before you can get out the window, you gone. McDonald's may make you wait a little while, but Chick-fil-A gonna get you out.
No extra
We
sauce.
talk with the microwave. We have an air fryer that can crisp my wings in 7 minutes while I'm in the shower. I get out and they're ready. So we have all these things. We have the iPhone, emails, text messages right there in your phone. If I forget a paper at my house or my sermon on Sunday, I don't have to go back home. I just tap into my iCloud and it's right there. So we taught to have convenience, but we also, with our generation, have taught to be dedicated to ourselves. We want to work hard and we want to go secure the bag. So we want to make sure that we got the degrees that we want. Also, for me personally, I have always said that I didn't want to start a family, so I feel like I was financially stable. Their own definition in my mind. So what does that look like? You know, do we want to struggle like generations have before? And so I think when it comes to being committed, all those things hang in place. So what do? We find someone to fill this space, just to give us a little bit of what we want until we become who we want to be.
Can I guess from what I'm hearing from you all, the biggest thing is when it comes to commitment, and this is a question, is it the fact that we're committed to an ideology of what we think things should look like? So the fact that we can't commit to those ideologies, or we commit to those ideologies, we can't commit to somebody else if they don't fit that picture.
If they don't fit the idea we put in our heads.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Let me grab that one. Let me grab that one.
Speak for the younger.
Yeah, so I'm gonna speak for the 20-year-olds. I got about 26 more days before I'm 21. So 20-year-olds, we're holding on strong. But I think everybody's point was great, and we talked about ideology. It's great that you said that. I think somebody pointed out the point of how we look at past relationships, or we look at our elders and how we look at our parents or our grandparents. Look at parents now. There's no relationship there. I don't want to speak for everybody's, situation right now, but in our generation right now, the typical home, it looks like right now, is a mother who's taking care of her kids, who has a father who's not in the kid's life. Sometimes that's the typical standard of what the family has been for these past. I don't know when it started, but it just kind of that's been the wave that's been happening for these couple of years. And I think the reason that could be happening is because of our ideology. When we look at these relationships on Instagram, and we look at these relationships at celebrities, and we see how celebrity couples, they'll step out on each other. And that man ain't nothing, he's no good, and then they'll come back together. And then all of a sudden the next week their relationship goes. And then the person steps out again, and then we cancel them. Cancel culture is terrible. But it's just the fact that, we're looking at the ideology of, is your relationship goals social media? Is your relationship goals a celebrity couple? Or is your relationship goals what Christ did with the church? And what Christ did with the church is that despite, like you said, the conveniency of what Christ could have done, he could have sent his angels down, took him off that cross. It could have been convenient for him to do that, but Christ knew that he had to do what he had to do because he was committed to the cross. So I think when we look at commitment, it's doing the thing that's hard for the bigger picture.
That's good. That's good. Go ahead.
To speak on Andrea made a really good point when she talked about convenience. You're not going to endure anything that's not going to be convenient to you anymore. Our generation, we don't know how to persevere. No. It's kind of a gift and a curse. If it's something that's not tailoring to us, if somebody has us messed up on a job, hey, I'm about to roll. Right. But it produces this lack of not able to persevere, not able to stick to anything. And so at the first sign of trouble, I'm gone. As opposed to, like you said, being committed, it's like, even, and I'm not talking about, being persevering in relationships that are toxic. Exactly. But pretty much committing to just the bigger picture, having an end goal in mind that come what may. I'm still going to be able to, I'm put my best foot forward and not just tap out so quick. And my brother here, what's your name again, man?
Kevin.
Kevin made a good point. When we put these relationship goals on Instagram, every day I'm seeing a new celebrity couple. Right. And, people idolize this, but I say the better the picture looks, the worse the relationship. That's right. Anytime you see a whole bunch of pictures, it's the perfect photo, the perfect filter, beware, because behind closed doors,
I think, I'm gonna call you Pastor Davenport, made a really good point about us being so involved in self, and Alexia said the same thing. Alexia? Okay. Said the same thing about how older generations, you see moms staying with abusive husbands or people stepping out on each other, and they did it because of finances, or they did it because of their status, or they did it because it just was taboo to divorce. So you have these grandmamas who stayed, and you say, well, my granddaddy got, like 5 of the kids, but they stayed together, right? Our generation doesn't do that. We're not, like you said, we're not willing to stick through that. I'm not dealing with it. I'm out. But there's a certain level of perseverance that we lack because we have decided that I'm going to choose self. But when it comes to relationships and even the commitment to the cross, there is something higher than us. Even scripture tells us to esteem our brothers higher than ourselves. There's an understanding of this is greater than me.
Yeah.
And despite the hardships, the arguments, the fights, the humanity of a person, because regardless of how we think a person should love, they may not. And either you can choose to see past the humanity and choose to see those conditions, not allow fear to influence all of that, and love despite all of those things, and persevere to actually see the fullness and the completion of love, which is the fullness and completion of yourself. In all actuality, I will never be my whole being without being around the sum total of the people who influence me.
That's right.
And if I never commit to those connections, I'll always be less of myself. I can only increase and only grow based on the people who are feeding into me. It's, of course, my relationship with the Lord, but I will always be missing a branch. I'll be a tree without a branch forever. Just no fruit, no leaves, no shade.
We don't got no collection
No
plate.
connections for what? And I think we're so tied up in making ourselves great that we forget that our relationships are what make us great.
Yeah, that's right. That's good. That's good too, especially when you brought up the relationship with God, because I truly believe that our relationship with God should really mirror our relationship with other people. And most times we struggle with commitment in relationships, whether it's a relationship with a significant other or a relationship with friends and family, because our relationship with God ain't what it's supposed to be.
Absolutely.
I mean, we don't really understand what 1 Corinthians says about love, where love is really patient, kind, keeps no record of right and wrong. I can be real petty. Keeps no record of right and wrong. But then as soon as we get mad at somebody, we bring up stuff that came about a decade ago. And so we have all these things. And so as you just said, and as others have echoed, that when we get this relationship with God right first, everything else will fall in place. And so I think when it comes back to this question about commitment, the real question we need to ask is, are we truly committed to God?
Well, so I guess in the sense, as you think about it, a person that is not walking with Christ, is it easier for them to commit to somebody because it's more free will than it is for somebody that is walking with Christ?
That's a good question.
That's a real good question.
Repeat that again.
So, as we talking about commitment, say for instance somebody that's watching, they don't walk with Christ. So is it easier for them to commit to somebody because it's more of a free will relationship than it is for somebody that's walking with Christ when it comes to commitment?
Correct. When you don't have a standard, you will get in anything. And God will let you know who you are and what your standard should be. If I've never been told that, I deserve to drive a Lexus or deserve to drive a Benz, I need to get, you just getting a Honda Pilot because it's, I'll get in anything. So when you have that mentality in this relationship, like idolizing relationship now, and I'm going to kind of change gears right here. Even in the church now, relationships have become the new Jesus. They idolize it, they preach on you, they hone in on your desire to be with somebody. Even the biggest pastors right now, the platform that they built on was relationship. So when you have this platform now people are seeking relationships with outward people, thinking that they're getting close to God, but really you just appeasing your own flesh. Like I'm attracted to a relationship that this pastor's preaching, but they're not really preaching Jesus though.
I think it's easier to commit, but it won't last long.
It won't last long at all.
That's good. And then I wonder, does my generation struggle with commitment because we know that the person we desire to be with ain't it? Like, it ain't it. We ask them, what is this? You got to keep asking that question, what is this? You got to keep asking that question, what is this? It ain't it. And so we're not committed because we know it's not supposed to be there, yet at the same time, we're not comfortable being by ourselves. We say we content being single, but the truth is you don't really be content. And so I want is that contentment.
I'm straight.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you finna jump into it because I told y'all this quick. I told y'all this quick.
I'm trying to take us there.
But you set yourself up for it. So we got some single ministers on this platform right now. And I'm gonna throw it to the guys first just because I wanna know. Like, I haven't been single in so long. Like, my jersey is up in the Raptors. Like, it's super dusty. Like, I've been out the game for so long. Like, I don't even know what singleness look like. But for my brothers that are single, but in the ministry, like you're a pastor of a church, you're starting your church, you're a young college pastor. So at a big church like Brown. So what does it look like when it comes to commitment for you, or what are you seeking in commitment from a woman when it comes to being single ministers?
Ooh, I might get some trouble. That's a good question.
You set yourself up for it too.
Well, it's okay. Somebody need to hear it. That's a good question. One, if I'm looking to date and you're looking for a commitment, one, I'm looking for that person to understand that I'm committed to God first.
Absolutely.
Like, so I'm a pastor. I'm also a faculty at Mississippi State University, and I'm doing some spiritual development there. And so everything I do, I consider it ministry. And I've been single for 32 years. And so I know how to do is really commit to God first. And so if you're coming into the picture, and I'm slowly allowing you to come into the picture, you have to understand this life of ministry, and it's not what people think. It's more than just preaching on Sunday. So last weekend I had 3 funerals pop up, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday.
Lord,
I can't plan out deaths. And so we have dinner, I have to cancel that. I don't need you being upset with me because I gotta go be who God called me to be. And so I think, and I can't speak for the people who are already married, but I think most of the time when preachers are married and this first lady, this lady coming to ministry, she really don't have no choice. I mean, she have a choice, but she already committed. But when you're single in ministry, your life looks totally different. And now you're trying to add someone to this. And a lot of times they just don't fit. They don't fit. And if a true lady don't like that lifestyle, she becomes frustrated, even trying to put up with you. And so I think it looks different because for me, I'm gonna commit to God every time.
I'm gonna try to keep it all the way real, like all the way real. I think it's easier for a pastor, whether male or female, who met their spouse prior to the ministerial walk, than to be in it. So when I can say, for me being in ministry as a single minister, and speaking 2 languages like that, my realm of options, if you will, has kind of, has really expounded. So for me, it's more so finding someone that has the anointing to be with me. And me having the anointing to be with her. I understand the submission role on both the male and the female. But what happens is when you start dating, people have an image of you. And a lot of people they magnify the image. And so when they with you and they see that you hurt, they see that you bleed, they see that you cry, they can't handle you in your weak moments because they're not anointed to be with you. They see that you like, oh man, I thought this person never had a bad day. I thought they didn't curse. Yeah, I might have one slip out here. And so yes, it came out. So is it like a oh my God moment, or are you going to see past it? And so I say for me, the biggest, I don't really have an issue dating at all, but I would definitely say that, you gotta marry right, you gotta choose right, because if you don't, you will have hell to pay.
That's right. I believe it.
I agree.
I believe it.
I can speak from my point of view, especially when I accepted my calling. I was 15 years old.
Wow.
So I have been in this thing for 5 years. And
I was out in the streets at 15.
And it's just coming, like getting the different perspective of being in that walk with God from high school up until college and even in now. Man, your flesh is so strong sometimes.
That's right.
So strong sometimes. And the thing that's kind of been my anchor. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Let me go on camera with this. I'm not perfect. And nobody on this panel is perfect.
That's right.
We're all somebody that slipped up and had people or dated people that we shouldn't have been dating, but yet we were, like you said, attracted to the ideal of that person. And so my thing, the thing that's been kind of anchoring me is allowing God to put people in my life and not me trying to drag people into my life. I think the thing that and shout out to, if you don't know, let me give you the edge real quick. If you're not hip to it yet, the Millennial Christian Podcast is a podcast that airs every Wednesday. And it started by my wonderful sister in Christ, Miss Nadia here. And one of the things that they talked about on their podcast was about, now I can't even remember what I was going to say, but they were talking about commitment and they were talking about relationship. And one of the things that they were saying was that, I don't believe it was you or Destiny, but you were talking about how when growing up, you were trying to please everybody. And that's something that I was trying to do. I'm a people pleaser. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody, when you're in my space, I just want to give you all of my energy. I want to give you all the love and everything. And so growing up, especially being in relationships, I would try to drag people into that life. I would try, like, come on, just enjoy this walk with Christ with me. Like, enjoy being, like, come to my sermons, come hear me preach, like, and trying to bring people into that realm. And obviously, as you see, I'm still single, so that didn't work for me. So now I'm trying to get that understanding with God. God, whoever you send into my life, relationship-wise and just friendship-wise and just mentorship-wise, whatever the relationship is, God, whoever you send into my life, let that be who you send and not who I'm trying to cast and trying to drag into my life. So
That's good. That's good. And to understand that some people are only there for seasons.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, how many people you tried to hold on to when the season was up?
Yeah.
Trees have become bare. The weather has changed. Temperature has changed. We still just trying to hold on to them. And so just understanding that some people are there only there for seasons. But dating as a pastor is hard.
Well, can I be a devil advocate?
Yeah.
But I know you wanted to say something. Didn't you want to say something to us that being, because I know you in the ministry work.
So from a woman's perspective, I've been in ministry for, well, really my whole life, but I've been preaching for like the past 5 years. Mm-hmm. And the experiences that I've had with dating, they vary in and out. I've dated people on one side of the spectrum, dated somebody on opposite sides. And I think the biggest thing that I've had to deal with is feeling like I had to find the balance between being submissive. And the reason why I'm putting quotations around it is because I wasn't married. The whole concept of submitting outside of covenant for me it's an interesting balance. Trying to figure out how to be nice. I'm not saying this arrogantly, but I know I'm a powerful woman. Yeah. I have a strong personality. I'm well educated. Like I'm I know my word. Yeah. I'm not, and I don't mean to say this rudely, but I'm not a church girl. Like, I'm in this thing for real. Like, I'm committed for real. And the issues that I've had have been men feeling intimidated by that because I've never needed someone to validate my call. I only needed the Lord to validate me. As a minister, as a believer, I've only needed the Lord to validate that for me. And it's been hard trying to find someone to mesh with that. The person I'm dating now has the complete opposite personality of me. He's super calm, and it works. But he understands who I am. He understands. Like this morning, he texted me. He said, "Start your day off with prayer. You want to give the people something good today." Thank you. I would have. Come on, let's talk. We gotta talk. Like I'm ready to go. But it's been a balance trying to find someone who's not intimidated by me. And is willing to understand what it takes to be me. Like you were saying, some people get frustrated. Like I can't hang out tonight. I got Bible study. I got prayer on Thursday. I got rehearsal on Wednesday. Got to study on. I can't stay out. Sometimes if I'm preparing to preach, I can't watch this movie right now. I can't. I need to focus. And for the men that I've dated, let me not say that. For the men that I've dated, it has been difficult to recognize the strength in commitment. To bring it back around, the strength in my commitment to it, and that sometimes, most of the time, this takes precedence. And I would hope that your commitment levels out with mine so that it never feels like I'm neglecting you. I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna be there with you. I got you. We here.
So
I'm here.
I like that. Why? Because it's going to bring me to where I'm going. I said I was playing devil advocate, but I'm speaking to my brothers on this part as a married man in ministry, and that is true. The person that's walking with you, if they got an opportunity to see you, like, you know, the song, like Rick Rock said, she wasn't shooting with me in the gym.
Yeah.
Like my wife, she was shooting with me in the gym. She seen me before this part of my life. But this is the thing I have to say to you, my brother, like, you also, just as committed as you are to God, you have to understand your first ministry is your wife and your child, what comes with it. So true enough, in marriage, it's gonna be times where somebody's gonna say, hey, can you come preach a sermon? But you got your wife over there, she done had a rough day at work or something, or somebody got on her nerves. You probably gonna have to, not probably, you're gonna have to say, hey, I can't make this sermon. I gotta be here with my wife, because one thing we mess up at is the first commitment is, that going back to Christ, the commitment is to my wife. When I said I do, I said all those vows. And see, I think people don't realize when they're saying them vows, it just sounds good. You just up there smiling. She looking beautiful in your mind. You happy. You got to this point. You already know the honeymoon finna be on point. Like, you up there happy. You saying, I do. And you're not really hearing the preacher saying for better or worse, for rich or poor. Like, you ain't thought that they just said, if y'all poor, you still got to be committed. And so, if she's sick, you still got to be committed. For better or worse, you still got to be committed. So there comes a time when, as many opportunities as I've gotten to go speak, if I'm looking at my wife and I know today ain't today, I just got to say, not today. Because the thing is, you never want to be that minister that's up in the pulpit preaching, but when you go home, you're not living that same life. So you have to be truthful to your commitment when it comes to understanding what ministries come first. Because just like you said, you do got a church, you pastor over, God has put you over, but the other part of that is understand that you steward over these two people. You took the responsibility of this woman. I took this responsibility of my son. So guess what? They are going to come first. I love my church. I would do anything. If they call me now, I'm coming, if I can. But if my wife needs me, I'm running to her. So I say all that to say, we have to be careful what we commit to when we are in a committed relationship.
In a committed relationship. But then that brings about another question. When single, when does that commitment begin to shift?
So,
you see what I'm saying? When does it begin to shift?
That's kind of, did you want to say something? Because I know you can. Okay. Well, you know, that's discretion. You know, I mean, you know, I don't think nobody in here is, you know, was born last night. You know, we know when a relationship is starting to get to a point to where, you know, I'm really feeling this person really feeling me. We're spending more time together. And then you go from that transition to, like you said, you know, you have and I want to ask you about that. You said you have I don't want to say problem, but you have a hard time committing outside of marriage. Like at what point, or submitting outside of marriage, at what point do you say, you know what, let me go ahead and be this so he can know that I can be like this?
It's funny you say that, because me and my boyfriend talked about this last night. We were talking about submission, and I think the definition of it, and I was like, well, some things that I think he thinks are submission, I'm just being nice. It's just like, you know, I don't have to fight with you about that, you know. And he looked at me, he said, well, I know you can submit. He was like, I know you can. I see how you are now, and I know when we get married, it won't be a problem, because we've learned how to communicate. We've learned how to be patient with each other, and we've established that submission goes both ways. When I present something to him as a minister, and like we were talking about earlier, you know, being the I don't want to say the leader, but the person who is deeper into it. If I present something to him, he'll take it. If he presents something to me, I'm taking it. You know, it's an equal playing field for both of us. So when I said that, I didn't mean like I have a hard time submitting, but I think marriage submission looks different than just in a relationship, you know, for sure. So I don't want to overstep my boundaries as a single woman who, you know, in a relationship, into marriage and doing things that covenant does that is not happening here, you know, without without, the Lord really, putting his hands on the thing,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is not that I have a problem with it, but it just looks different. And I just want to make sure I'm doing it the right way that I should be in relationship before we get to marriage.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And Nadia, people have, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you got something to say.
You got something to say.
I want you to
Yeah.
The female
Yeah.
spouse.
Yeah.
View. And I'm still in my first year of marriage, so being submissive, thank you so much. I was hoping. Ooh, I'm glad it's over with. But anyways, being submissive was very hard for me. I'm the oldest in my family. My parents raised us to be very independent women. I had been a nurse since I was 23. I met my husband when I was 29. So taking care of myself, being taken care of was different. I had to learn to let him open the door. I had to learn to do a lot of things. But when I met him, I was over the women's ministry here at Brown. So I was extremely busy, but I knew when that year ran up, I was not gonna be the head of it because I wanted to be with this man. I knew that I could be the type of wife that the Bible speaks of. He was very calm, the yin to my yang. But I was able to be myself and independent, but yet be submissive to him. Yeah. And I still am. It's a struggle, no lie, because the first year is rough, but he was kind enough and had a good enough heart to make me feel like I could still be myself, like you said, without completely changing or completely submitting. I can still be submissive and still be powerful, and he understands that.
It compliments
and it does.
Yes.
It's very complimenting, but the problem. I don't want to say I had a problem submitting to him before we got married. It clicked. And it just was like a light bulb went off in my head. I don't know when it happened, but I totally understand where you're coming from because we were raised to be independent, strong, independent women, and I'm sure you are too. You probably the youngest of the three women here tonight or today. But it's a struggle, but it's something that we have to learn how to do because we have to be that submissive woman. That's what the Bible speaks of. So.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, as we get ready to embark on closing this conversation out, and you all, please don't get mad at me. Y'all always text me like, "Why did you end it?" Guess what? We gonna make this a part 2. We definitely gonna jump into a part 2 because this conversation got so much more meat on the bone that we need to pull off. Like, my brother right here, he coming with it today. And so at the end of the day, man, but I enjoy it, man. I like these conversations that we're having because you get to see different point of view from singleness to married to people that's not even probably thinking about dating at the moment. Like, they're so committed to their goals. So at the end of the day, what we're gonna tell you to do is wait, give us some time, and we're gonna drop a part 2. So thank you for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you all later.